Are you guys getting like super lag? It's lagging on my computer over there. Let's see it. Do you guys see my screen yet or not?
Yeah.
It's like spinning on my screen. I'm wondering if it's spinning on yours.
Your screen, in my point of view, is not anyone
All right, so again, we're reading the book, which is here. And then you can open up Google Docs to annotate. It's like working slow on my end. I can see it being a little bit behind. All right, so it's page 51, I think. I might be wrong, but go to 51. If you're in the novel, it's page 91, which is chapter 11. Somebody. Did somebody? All right, so chapter 11. Make sure you are here. Pop the note. Okay. All right, so we're going to read a little bit. You guys will have some questions. And then after that, we're going to work on our writing, something kind of new. You guys all hear me, right?
Yes.
Sweet. All right. So last chapter we ended off with Gypsy getting sick, and we find out that she had the measles. Again, a disease that you guys don't really worry about anymore because you guys get vaccinated before you go to school. So lucky for you guys, you don't have to deal with that. It was the next evening, just after it got dark, that Woodrow came to my window and called softly, "Gypsy, you awake?" The window was right beside the bed, and the curtains were pushed back to let in the night breeze. "Yeah, I'm awake," I said, rising up on my knees. Together, Woodrow and I removed the screen and eased it down to the floor. "You better?" he said. "Some," I said. "Doc says my fever's down." "Had your rum tonight?" he said, grinning. "Not yet. Mama will bring it in a while." "Well, I got somebody here wants to visit you." "Oh? Who?" I leaned towards the window and detected a figure about a head taller than Woodrow standing in the shadows. "I hope he's had the measles," I said. "Oh, yeah, he's had everything," Woodrow said as he pushed the person forward. "Say hello to Blind Benny." I was flabbergasted. For years I'd heard him singing, but I'd seen him only in the dark from afar, while he rummaged through people's leftovers and the dogs sniffed around him. Now here he was. Leave it to Woodrow to bring him right to my window and introduce him like he was somebody's cousin from Glassy Lick, maybe. Blind Benny moved halfway into the dim light coming from the lamp. I could see his face and the legendary sightless eyes that were almost not there. They were like two little holes in his face, about the size of dimes, and not eyes at all. It was an automatic reflex for me to shrink from anything so hideous. I almost gasped, but I clapped a hand over my mouth before the hateful sound could escape. So he's obviously kind of scary looking, so her immediate reaction is to shrink back in fear, and then like she almost makes a noise because he's so scary looking. As usual, nothing got past Woodrow. He saw my reaction and he smiled, so he thinks it's funny that she's scared of him. "Evening, Miss Beauty," Blind Benny said shyly. "Hope you're a feeling fitter than you was." Beauty? Why did he call me that? A feeling akin to pain came with that name, so for some reason this being called Beauty is upsetting her. "I reckon so," I said, trying to find some words. "I was sorry when your cousin here told me you was a ailin', but he said you'd not be scared of me like most girls is." Woodrow and I exchanged a glance. Suddenly Benny started scratching his thighs and behind. "Chiggers is awful this year," he said. "I might near wore my fingers down to a nub just a scratching myself. Woodrow tell me he knows about chiggers, knows their ways and their secret places," he says. "He's going to show me how to keep away from 'em. Do the chiggers get on you much, Miss Beauty?" "Sometimes," I mumbled. "So chiggers are bugs. They're like these little red bugs that bite you and like do all kinds of nastiness to you. So they're really tiny. So like you can see one here, right? Super small. Hold on. I lost my page. Where am I now? Yeah. All right. It was true that there was a bumper crop of chiggers that year. They were tiny, almost microscopic bugs that liked to crawl up under your clothes and burrow into white fleshy places where the sun never touches. Big ugly red bumps would pop up when they dug in, and Woodrow did have a peculiar knack for sniffing them out. Lots of times he'd say to me, "Don't sit there, Chigger can venture," or "Don't lean on that, Chigger City." Yeah, well, Woodrow's right hand to have around sometimes, I said to Blind Benny. Woodrow looked at me sideways like he was wondering if I meant something by that. When Woodrow asked me to come over here to your window, Blind Benny said, it brung to me a memory of your pappy in this very room singing to you when you was just a little thing. You mean my daddy? I said. Oh, yeah, Blind Benny said, moving closer and clutching to the window ledge. I felt a tremor go through me as I shrank away from him, so she's a little scared. Amos Leebaster and me was boys together back there in Cold Valley, Kentucky, Miss Beauty. Why do you call me that? I said. Beauty? Oh, don't you remember? It was his name for you. He always called you Beauty, short for Arbutus. He named you himself. Gypsy Arbutus Leemaster. He said he couldn't think of any other name to beat it, and he were right. I felt sick and I wanted to go away then, but I didn't know how to say it. So this whole idea of being called Beauty bothers her, and it's bothering her because of the fact that it's what her father used to call her, and obviously her father is no longer alive. Benny's gonna sing you, Gypsy, Woodrow said. I lay back on my pillow and closed my eyes. I knew what the song was going to be before he began. When the moon comes over the mountain, every beam brings a dream dear of you. Blind Benny's voice was even more wonderful, haunting. It was up close, and I could almost hear my daddy echoing each line. Once again we strolled neath the mountain, through the rose-covered valley we knew. Each day is gray and dreary, but the night is bright and cheery. When the moon comes over the mountain, I'm alone with my memories of you. It was Amos's favorite song, Benny said softly when it was finished. He was a good singer. Too bad what happened to him. I'm feeling sick, I interrupted, not quite trusting my voice. I want to rest now. Why, sure, you sleep, Miss Beauty, and I hope you'll be well again soon. I didn't answer. I heard Woodrow fumbling around with the screen, then there was silence. The next day it turned real hot. Porter came into my room, ran an extension cord from the hallway, and placed an electric fan in my dresser. It was one of those small wire ones that swivel back and forth. It felt good. Then he brought in a radio. Something to keep you cool and something to occupy your mind, he said. Mama had cleaned out my stash of books. How you feel, he went on. Like a mushroom, I said irritably. In a cool, dark place. Porter turned the radio to Cole's station. Can I get anything else for you, he said. I shook my head. Didn't he know that if I wanted anything, wouldn't ask? He hung around for another minute and then left me alone. The radio was playing Hernando's Hideaway. It reminded me of my treehouse. I thought I would feel better if I could go there and sit on the tree house porch, hang my feet above the water, and listen to the creek rippling over the rocks. I remember the day Daddy built the treehouse for me. I was barely big enough to get up the steps, and Mama fussed at Daddy because she said I was too small to climb up there and play. So he promised he would always go with me until I was old enough to go by myself, and he did. Until he died. I didn't go back to the treehouse until I was 10 years old, the day Mama and Porter got married and drove away to Myrtle Beach for their honeymoon. Then I climbed up there and I went into the room. It was damp, and it still smelled like raw lumber. There was a button on the floor, and I picked it up and looked at it for a long time. It was green with little swirls of white running through it like marble. Again, that's an example of simile. I knew it came off Daddy's green shirt, the one he wore to the volunteer firemen's meetings every Tuesday night. But didn't want to think about it anymore. So again, um, sometimes you'll notice that the authors will put things in there that are symbolic. So this green button that she's looking at is basically a symbol of her father. Mama! I yelled, feeling clammy and all out of sorts. I want to get up. She popped in the door just like she'd been standing right out there in the hall. She was wearing a blue sundress with daisies all over it, and her hair was brushed back in its everyday style with a blue ribbon in it, which made her look like a young girl. Don't be silly, she said. I want to go to the treehouse. You'll do no such thing. Why does she want to go to the treehouse? Again, you got to think about what she was just talking about. Why would she want to go to the treehouse? Hmm. Yeah, it's to make her feel better, but what is she thinking about, or what was she just thinking about? Her father, right? Yeah. So this whole idea of her father comes back to her, and it's probably also tied to the fact that what's his name? Blind Benny came and basically was speaking about her father, so it kind of like is in her brain right now. So her mom's like, no way. Why doesn't her mom want her to go? Why wouldn't her mom want her to go to the treehouse? What is the reason for that? Why? Why? Yeah, because she's sick. Exactly, because she's dealing with the measles again. Measles. Um, People always thought like, oh, it wasn't so bad, but actually, it could kill you. Like it was pretty bad. Like, so you couldn't fool around. Um, you'll do no such thing. And then now look at how she treats her mom. She goes, "Why did you marry Porter?" So how do you think that's going to make her mom feel? How would that make her mother feel? Yeah, exactly bad. It was a nasty thing to say, and it popped out of nowhere. "He's not my daddy," I said in a low, evil voice, "and he'll never be. I hate him." So again, she's kind of being rather cruel here, right? That's like a nasty thing to be saying to her. And again, from all of our experience with Porter, right, he hasn't really done anything bad at all to this girl. I saw a slow flush go over her face. So again, it's getting color, and her lip began to tremble. So she's probably holding back tears, right? Her face went red, and now she's her lips trembling. "You don't give him a chance," she said in a whisper. I turned my back to her and I covered my head with the sheet. Mama left the room. By Saturday, I felt lots better. Woodrow spent most of the day with me. We played checkers and he read to me from a book called Lorna Doone. It was real good. Then he showed me how you could talk into the fan. It was queer the way the rotating blades chopped up the sound waves and made your voice quiver. "That's how it was when Mama calls my name in my dreams," he said sadly. "Why do you reckon it sounds like that?" I said. "It's being filtered through two worlds, some kind of real strong force field separating the two dimensions." Right, so again, he keeps hinting at the fact that his mom's trying to reach out to him from some like other world or whatever. "Oh, I see," I said, but I didn't see it all. And what's more, I didn't think he did either, right? So she thinks he's lying. "I think maybe she'll try to contact me another way," Woodrow said. "Like on the telephone," I said. "You're making fun of me," Woodrow said. "I never thought you'd do that, Gypsy." "Honest, I didn't mean to," I said, because I didn't. But even so, I was still ashamed of myself. We didn't have anything to say to each other for a long time, and Woodrow looked so pitiful I couldn't stand it. I thought and I thought about what I could say to him to make him feel better. Finally, I had it. "I tell you what, Woodrow," Mama let me go outside. "We'll have a weenie roast, okay?" It worked. Weenie roast would be like, excuse me, cooking hot dogs. "Oh yeah," he said, brightening. "Yeah, down by the creek. There's a place where Grandpa lets me build fire sometimes. We'll have it there, and we'll invite Mary Lee and Rita and Buzz, Garnet, Franklin Delano, John Ed, and Peggy Sue and Willie," he said excitedly. After that, I got better every day. All right, so we're going to stop here. Let me stop this first.